Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, goblins and ghouls, children and vampires and vampiresses of all ages. Welcome back to On the Slab Horror Show with me, your host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, joined today, as always, by one of my right-hand men or left-hand men, the G-Man, Greg.
What's up?
Welcome to the show, brother. And of course, today, that man that you see, that beautiful man with that cold stare, is Tombstone Ted. Ted, welcome to the show, brother.
How you doing, lads? Good to be back on. This was a film I seen when it first got released, and I was straight onto you boys to get in on this one.
Yeah, you set us right off on this one.
He did, and that is 100% true. But before we get there, we want to take care of a little bit of business. Greg, who brings this show to the people every week?
Well, apart from us, the wonderful people at Fright Rags, that's www.fright-rags.com, the single best horror apparel merch in the business. Can't be bet. And then they have a massive sale on at the minute, from everything from t-shirts to socks to lounge pants. And I mean, I can guarantee they're the most comfy lounge pants you'll ever get, because I have got 5 pairs of them.
You know what the great thing about it is as well? Every time that you go onto their site, there's something new there, and you're like, why are you trying to make me broke?
Just take my money. take my money.
So,
but once you're willing to spend your money, go on and at the end type in OTS Horror 10 for a 10% discount. And that'll let the lads know that we sent you.
Absolutely. And you're helping us out by doing that. So please do put OTS 10. OTS Horror 10, and make sure that you let the lads know that we sent you, because we get something from it, they get something from it, and you get something beautiful from it. You get to hear our beautiful voices. If you want to mute us, that's okay. If you don't want to see us, you can just literally turn us off and just listen to our voices. Depends. But today we have a fantastic show for you, because we're going to talk about one of the latest horrors. We obviously done a very good show a couple of weeks ago on Fresh, and we said we would follow it up by X. And today, it's all about X.
Not DMX. He's not going to give it to you.
No, or Degeneration X. Yeah.
Or Exhibit.
It's no. This is literally X. I mean, lads, I'm gonna throw my twopence worth into it before we start. I think this is one of the, like, in terms of a modern horror, I think in terms of how it was shot and the feel of it and just the general vibe of the movie, I thought it's the closest thing that we've seen to an original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
100%.
Anyone agree?
I said that to you, didn't I? I said this is a cross between the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, maybe with a bit of humor from like the likes of Zack and Miri making porno, crossed with the Skeleton Key, obviously having the old couple in it, would be my best description of it. But the way Ty West done this was brilliant.
100%. I think what you done was actually, you obviously subliminally put that in my head, because I remember you saying that to me, and then I was thinking, right, there's comedic elements in this movie, but it's like, what was the movie that Blumhouse done? Remember? Oh God, I went to fucking see it and all in the cinema. I didn't think much of it, but at the time, where the 2 kids go and stay with the grandparents.
The 2 kids go stay with the grandparents.
Remember, they stay with the grandparents, but the grandparents aren't really their grandparents. They're fucking 2 lunatics. Remember, your one's running around at night, fucking naked and all, banging on the door. And the mother sends them.
That.
You know the one I'm talking about. God damn it.
I know what you're talking about. What was that? Blumhouse though?
It was a Blumhouse movie.
I can't think of that movie off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Remember
they start. Remember the L one chases her under the bottom of the gaff and everything, playing like chasing it, but like real weird. Anyway, somebody, you know what? Mention it in the comments.
Hit us up in the comments.
Yeah. Mention it in the comments. People know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, that was a movie that could have been done so fantastically. You know what I mean? We talk about movies that could have been done great, but this one checked all the boxes. Ted
Ty West absolutely nailed this.
nailed it. Ted, what do you reckon? Because you were the
Yeah,
one. You were the one that
I
really kind of promoted this from our point of view and said you need to talk about it. So
yeah, I went to see this. I think it was either the week it came out or the week after it came out. I went to see it in the cinema. I enjoyed it a lot. My biggest complaint is something that Carl loves in atmosphere and build up. I think it's probably a little bit too long in that at the start. I think it takes too long to get where it needs to go. Some of that probably can be cut out. It doesn't detract from the film massively, but I feel if you cut 10 minutes out of it, it probably would have, you wouldn't have lost too much. It was a bit awkward seeing it in the cinema. I have to say that. I think this is more of something you'd want to watch at home. It's a very awkward sort of thing to watch in the cinema.
It's a graphic enough in terms of horror, but not even for the horror aspect.
Yeah, like the horror,
the sexualization of it as well.
Yeah. Like I knew going in that the film was based around, that it was being based in the 70s and it was, a porn, like a low budget porn production company, or like 5 or whatever people going off to shoot in this
shack.
Yeah, out in kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So I knew that. So, going in, I knew, there's going to be some, you're going to see some sexual scenes and stuff, but it goes a bit over the top. I was basically just sitting there and I was like, this is so, imagine somebody walked into the cinema now and I'm sitting here. They'd just be like, this lad's literally sitting in the cinema just watching a fucking porn. I was like, this is a bit much now. This is a bit on the odd side, but it works in the way that it's shot. And it does, the tension builds up. And then when you do get to the first kill scene, it's explosive. It's very good from there. It's quick from there.
I found the start of this movie is very Robert Rodriguez From Dusk Till Dawn kind of way, kind of Quentin Tarantino style as well, where it starts with 4 dead bodies and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then it goes back in time.
Yeah.
To show you then obviously what had happened 2 days previous or whatever.
Good show.
I was sitting there and I was seeing it and I was like, did I miss some of this? Or is something not working on this? Because it was just there. And I was like, what the fuck? But it's again, we went back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Michael Bay's 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre starts that way. Where it shows sort of all the cops going in and then it goes back to show you what had happened. When it's done very well because obviously there's going to be a massive incident somewhere in the movie. Otherwise, you'd be like, meh, what's going on here?
Well, one of the things that I liked that they really kind of teased, and I kind of called early on, and I'm sure we all did when we were watching the movie, was that, okay, this L1, the wife is going to have a big say in this, you know what I mean? The fact that she just keeps appearing and it was kind of, but the way they done it was so creepy, you know what I mean? Because they look
when
like
they look
like inbred motherfuckers, you know what I mean?
When she pops up at the window down there shooting the scene in the barn, in the horse stable, and her head just pops up, but none of them see her.
It's gas, isn't it?
It's just
you're what the fuck?
And I was like, there's nothing creepier than old people just popping. I mean, two of the things that we always find creepy is obviously children and old people.
Yeah, especially when they're just popping up in the background. They're not the foreground. They're just kind of popping up there, and you're like, oh.
By the way, some of the most intense kill scenes that I've seen in recent times. The L1 with the boy coming out of the car.
I love the one of him coming out of the car because I love how she gets close to him. Yeah. He has no reason to be scared because he's like, this is some frail old woman. What the hell is she going to be able to do to me? I'm not saying he's not, a big strong guy or anything, but you'd think I can take this old frail woman. If I just push her, she's going to fall over and that'll be her done. And then it's just a quick jab right into his neck.
Yeah.
It was Floyd Mayweather-esque.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that. Someone catches you like that with a knife that you're not expecting. That's it. It doesn't matter how big, strong, or anything you are. That's it. You're done.
Right in the jugular.
The second kill is probably the most questionable one for me. It's the one I like the least.
Okay. When he's in the barn?
Yeah.
The director in the barn, yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason I dislike this one so much is because you have to look at it in one of 2 to 3, like in a couple, like there's 3 ways this can kind of happen. Because one, he bends down to look through the hole that was already made by the pitchfork.
Which
So-
you know then is going to happen.
Yeah, so you know what's going to happen. It's like he's getting jabbed in the face by that pitchfork. You know 100% that's happening. But for that to work, right, either that woman is, standing there holding the pitchfork just above it and then drops it down and jabs it in quick with accuracy and speed to kill him, or she somehow picked it up and ran at him, and like she's not going to be able to run that fast, and he still somehow didn't move out of the way. So to me, that one doesn't really work because the person doing the killing is too old to be able to pick up a pitchfork with that much, and like she has to have either the precision to get it. Yeah, she has to have the precision to get it through those holes, or enough force to like ram it through the barn as well. So for me, that one's a little bit questionable. All the rest of them, I'm really happy with. That one I think is a little bit questionable.
What did you find when she was digging the fucking face off your man and the head just turned to mush?
Yeah, it's a bit questionable, but I mean, if it's
throwback to the 80s, though, no?
Yeah,
but
it's a downward force. It's a downward force. Like, so, like if you like, I can pick something up and just drop it, and it's going to do quite a lot of damage. So I can believe that one a little bit more than I can this, frail 90-something-year-old woman picking up a pitchfork and ramming it through a thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's the definition, really, of letting the object do the work. Really.
Yeah.
You just have to pick it up and then just put your body weight behind it. Even if you don't weigh that much, it's going to do damage. The one that I found, I know you're saying about the one in the barn, which is probably the worst of them. Mm. The alligator one, I know. Shout out to Ali Chappell who brought it up. When we had herself on the show, she was saying that bit kind of took her out of the movie.
Yeah.
And I can see where she's coming from with that. Like they try and the alligator's going to have a part to play after you see Mia Goth swimming naked out there, and then the alligator's behind
it was building, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you just knew it was coming, but that for me was the one that didn't need to be there. Like you can have the alligator killer. Yeah, you just didn't need to see the alligator jump out of the water and take her by the head.
I thought the alligator for the marine probably would have been the better one. So the way he wades out,
he wades in. That would have been perfect.
I think that would have been a good one.
Do you know what would have been
I did
scarier?
like his death scene.
Do you know what would have been scarier and more claustrophobic, in my opinion? Going on what Greg said there, and you, Ted. Like if she'd have been in the water, right, and just kind of swimming, going, "Why the fuck did you push me?" Struggling because it's dark, it's black, you can't see shit, and then just disappearing.
That would have been the better one, because let's be fair, like anyone that knows sort of anything about alligators or things, they're not going to come out of the water and take you at the head. Yeah. They will come out, like they'll explode at water's edge, but if you're in the water, they're just pulling you under, and that's
why
that's game over.
I thought that would have been a scarier scene, like if she's like shouting at your woman, going, "What the fuck are you doing?" and then all of a sudden,
you just don't see her again.
Do that and then have the husband shine the light into the water
and see the eyes.
Just have it red.
No, I must say we're not here to make this film better. We're purely stating our opinions on But as far as I'm concerned, I watched it a second time, guys, and I had said to you that I know the last time I talked to you about this movie, I said that I thought Fresh was better.
I didn't.
I think
this is the best horror movie in the last
while.
Yeah.
It's definitely the best one that I've seen this year. Oh, sorry, second best one I've seen this year. Scream was the best one I've seen this year.
Okay, yeah. Well, for me now, that's the funny thing about it, right? Because I've said, I think Scream is definitely better, but I think in terms of this comes across as an indie horror movie.
Yeah. So and that's what I love. That's what I love about Ty West.
The two, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one is a slasher. This isn't really like it is a slasher, and it isn't a slasher in a way, because normally a slasher, technically, I know Scream normally has more than one as well, that they have two of them, but this is different in the way that it's done.
Yeah, Scream is also already a franchise. You already had a backing for it. For me, this is probably the second or third best horror released in the last few years. I still think A Quiet Place is one that gets slept on a lot. I think that's really high
Oh,
up there.
it's
Absolutely love
quality.
it. Absolutely love A Quiet Place, but Fresh was very
I
good.
did.
But it's a
I love the
different.
second one actually.
Yeah, Fresh is very good. But it's a different type of horror. You know, it's a more
Yeah.
Hollywood produced type
Yeah.
horror, whereas
Yeah.
this is closer to what
I'll tell you
you
what,
think of with horror.
they
real.
really threw a character name in here with putting Jenna Ortega's name on it, and then obviously she's not even the main character in it.
I thought she would be. Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
she was going to be the survivor.
Like she seems to be the big name in horror now at the minute. Obviously coming off Scream and this, and then she has 2 or 3 other ones coming out this year. But the character development that they have for her in this is fucking brilliant. Obviously, she's the shy, nerdy girlfriend of the director, of the sound guy, sorry. And yeah, she has no interest in porn whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, something changes in her mind, and she's like, "Oh, I could do this."
I like the switch.
Shot
Yeah,
a
I think
BBC.
She did.
I think the dynamic between her and the boyfriend, they're like the starter boyfriend's like, this is a really good like career move for us, and like, okay, it's not exactly what we want to be doing, but it puts us on a stepping stone, and she's kind of against it. And then they're sitting down chatting to the rest of the crew, who explain to them, no, it's nothing personal. Like, this is business. You separate your personal life from your business life. And then she's like, okay, well, then I'll separate my personal life and I'll get into the business. And
make some moolah.
There's something
the boyfriend just kind of loses
something kind of
plot.
sad about that, though, isn't there? Like in a lot of ways, because I mean, I was sitting watching this obviously with my better half, and you kind of ask that question. You're like, Jesus H Christ, if you turn around and said that, like, to be killings, you know what I mean? So you can relate. To it, like.
It's a different mindset that you'd have to be in.
Yeah,
like. That day, you'd have to have a strong mindset to be able to separate the fact that your missus is getting road ragged left, right, and centre.
That's why it's a great scene where the guy is just lost in plot. He's like,
when he's in the shower, you genuinely feel sorry for him, like
100%. That's why I think the script and not just the script, but the acting, the scenes, the context was just so perfect.
Yeah, like it pulls on, like you would feel like it pulls on the feelings of like if I was in that situation and I was there with, my girlfriend and we were meant to be shooting it, like I'm the cameraman, she's the sound, and then it turns and you're like, you wouldn't just be okay with it. It would take you a while to at least adjust, regardless of if you were ever okay with it or not. It'd definitely take an adjustment period.
The adjustment there would have been for him to be in the scene with her, rather than some random fella that they brought with him.
Exactly. He screwed her, like, exactly.
But it's like her change in this was brilliant, and then like the bit where she's in the thing, like she has probably the worst bit of damage done to her.
Her and the director when he stands on that nail.
Oh Jesus God, no!
Those two are the worst. Standing on a rusty nail in the barn. Rotten.
You know what?
Oh, like, the camera doesn't even come away from it. It just shows him standing on it, and you're like, oh.
You know what, Greg? We'd only talked about that, and we done the exact same fucking thing with House of Wax, the remake.
Yeah. The straight up Paris Hilton's heel.
We were like, no more nails, man. And then you get it, and you're like,
But like the camera doesn't even pan away; it just stands straight down. You're like, Gugh.
Yeah. The thing with those is that they're more realistic. You've had your finger slammed in a door, you've stood on a nail or stood on something sharp like a thumbtack or whatever. So they're ones you can relate to. You can't relate to getting not most people can't relate to getting stabbed or shot or a fucking chainsaw to the fucking back. You can't relate to that. Whereas slamming your hands in a door, everyone knows that feeling.
How do you boys feel that this was shot? I thought that this was shot beautifully. I thought that they kept the cameras that kind of low tone where it was almost a mix of
the low grain,
gritty, 100%. Like
that's the best definition there, gritty.
Yeah. Look at the background that Ted has there. It's perfect. Like it tells you, like it's gritty, it's low tone, it's very, very much so like an updated
chainsaw.
Oh, 100%. That's
But it's
that's
meant
exactly
to be
where I
shot-
was going with it.
It's
Like,
meant to be shot in the 70s. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is meant to be from the 70s, so it shouldn't be high definition. I know it is technically high definition and everything, but it shouldn't look high definition. It shouldn't look clean and everything. If you're pretending this is being shot in the 70s, it should look like it's been shot in the 70s.
Ted,
Like,
I've
that's
got
a big
question-
shout
I've got a
out.
question for you, Ted. I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think, right? And I know Greg's answer. Do you think that Stranger Things changed the game when it came to this kind of thing, where you can actually film stuff and make it seem like you're back in the fucking 80s, for example, with Stranger Things? Make it
100%.
feel like you're back in the 80s, and now they're all doing it. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's what you need. Like you don't need it to look. Not that it shouldn't look amazing. It should look amazing, but there's a different. Like if you go back and watch a film that was made in the 80s, it's a darker, grittier sort of. And I think most horrors, I think that
Need
works
to be that way.
Like fresh, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
me too.
Fresh, it wouldn't make sense to shoot in that gritty sort of dark way
100%.
because it's meant to be this high-end rich person. So like, yes, it's a horror, but it's the different side. Whereas something like this, you're out in some dodgy old farm with some old couple who end up killing you. Like that's gritty. It's dark. That's how your film should look to reflect it.
And I mean, A24 knocked this out of the park, getting on with it as well. The production that they put on for it, and even the build up to it coming out, the publicity and everything. Like A24 knocking everything out of the park. But like this film here, as you're saying there, it's dark, it's gritty. That's Ty West all over. Like watching Ty West, I've watched Ty West movies for a long time. His The Innkeeper movie and House of the Devil are absolutely fantastic.
Fact.
But this here is head and shoulders above everything that he's done.
Innkeepers, by the way, very underestimated movie that people should watch. I think it was on. It was on Netflix for a while, wasn't it?
Oh, if I had seen it on Netflix, I would watch it. I don't know. I didn't see it on it. But no, I'm not saying it wasn't on it.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. If you get a chance, watch them. They're fucking brilliant.
Then again,
but he took a long time off.
To watch American Netflix every now and then, like all of us do. We're not going to say how we were able to, so it could be wrong. So.
We'll keep secrets. But yeah, Ty West knocked it out of the park again. But like, what a movie to come back to after taking, I think it was a 10-year break.
Is this his best movie, Greg?
Oh, 100%.
I think so.
By a mile.
Really?
By a mile.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do think he needs to stop having old people sex scenes though. Like, whatever about having the sex scenes of the younger people, that's all right. But
I mean, we got that in this as well. Like
that's what I mean. I don't need to see two 90-year-olds fucking going at it. Yeah, it's a bit much, mate. Leave that out.
I think he likes to get people feeling awkward, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, and that's what it is. It does. It makes you feel very awkward.
That's 100% because myself and ourselves were sitting there and we were going.
Didn't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that.
What happens? Imagine watching it in the parents' house or something now, and the parents walking. What are you watching?
but the great part about it was near the end when she just gets fucking blasted. She goes. It's like fuck me. What in the fucking shit has just happened? He's at the heart attack. He's going. My hair can't take it. She's off.
To be fair, she says that though to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, she's trying to knock bones with him." He's like, "No, it'll kill me."
But that's not what kills him though. In the end, it's a spooky noise in the house that kills him.
Yeah.
It's like a child jumping out from behind the door saying "boo." That was enough to fucking do him.
Yeah, I'd say the heart was gone after the ride though.
I would say the scene where
we all feel a bit deflated after that.
Yeah, but the other scene where the lead is in the bed and the old woman gets in beside her.
That's so weird.
It's so creepy, but it's the perfect amount of creepiness for this film, isn't it?
Yeah, and she's just rubbing it and she's leaving the blood on her back and all.
All over her back and everything. Oh, so you're just like, oh.
And then she just walks out stark naked. And you're like, what the fuck? It's very shining. Like, that's what I found for that scene, where she's wandering around stark naked. Like that scene where they're in room 314 in The Shining. Obviously where he's hallucinating, thinking he's with this massive guy and turned out to be a dead body. That's what I got from that.
That is very shining, actually. it was just a mishmash of a lot of great movies, I have to say.
Yeah, and it was
And
perfectly done.
you know what I mean? It was absolutely fantastically done. Obviously, if you're watching this, this here podcast and you haven't seen the show, well, then I don't know what the hell you're doing on here. You should watch the movie beforehand
We
because
we may or may not have spoiled it for you, but that's your own fault. We put the spoilers in the title.
But if you are the type of person that likes to know the narrative and likes to know the opinion before you see the movie, which there is a lot of people out there like that, that's fine too. But we definitely encourage you to go and watch the movie because I personally think this is, it's a pity we don't have the Wall Man on tonight.
Yeah, I'd say he'd love it.
Yeah, this is
Because
straight up history.
this is tailor made for him. You know what I mean?
We'll tailor make a slab for him, and we'll have a guess at what he'll give.
Yeah, well, look, me being his best friend, I guess I'm gonna make a guess on his. I'm gonna give mine 3, and I'm gonna give his 4.
That's fair. That's fair. Ted?
Yeah, I'd probably go 3.5. Like I said, I think there's some inaccuracies kind of in it, and then I feel the start of it was maybe a little bit too long before we got to the first kill, which usually I like, but it was just a little bit too long for me.
Yeah,
I'm going 4 here. I'd be closer to 4.5. I love this. I have this right up. This is number 4 on my list for the year. I love this from the minute I seen it. I don't overly agree with it being too long before it gets into it. Like, look at Texas Chainsaw. The original one takes 40 minutes before you get your first kill. 45, something like that.
I think it's nearly an hour. I think it's nearly an hour though before this one. That's kind of the issue here.
But the one thing I will say in this, they developed the characters a lot more in this than they did in the likes of Chainsaw and things.
No, they do, but that's what I mean. Like, there's probably a few bits of character development here that you could go without. Is just what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't ruin the film that it's that extra 10 minutes, but I think if you chopped that 10 minutes and put it on the cutting room floor, the film would still be just as good without it, sort of thing.
Yeah, potentially. I'm kind of glad the way it went. Yeah, so I'll give it a 4.
I'd give it a 3 just to be different. But like realistically, I was only doing that because the Wall Man is not here himself. I'd have to give this a 3.5, close to a 4. Really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would be more to 4. You know what I mean? I think I'd be looking back on this show in a year's time and going, how did I only give that a 3.5? You know what I mean? It'd have to be a 4.
Yeah.
I think everything about it was done in the right way. The context, you knew what the context was going into it. And, as Eric Bischoff says, context is king. I think it was, I just think it was a really neat, and I'm going to use that word that the Americans use, neat little movie, because everything was neat about it. Everything had its place. Do you know what I mean? It was like, I know what's going to happen next, but I'm afraid to see it. You know what I mean?
It pushes it on top of you and then happens anyway.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And it was the same with when the L one was there, it was like, this guy's going to get jabbed in the neck. I can see it. She's trying to hug him. She's going to go under fucking his chin. And sure enough, she did.
I was fully expecting it to come. I was fully expecting it to come up here.
No.
I'm glad they didn't, because she wouldn't have the force to do that.
If Elwins are the way I know them, she's going to come under. And it was just one of, so that's why I use that word neat. I just think it was a really neat little movie. And I just think it was fantastic. And that's why I kind of have it above fresh. You know what I mean? It
certainly has a lot of rewatch value too.
100%. I mean, you wouldn't watch it every year, of course, but like, it's there. Like, in 2 or 3 years' time, I'll watch that back and go, oh, because I watched it twice already. Yeah. One for myself and then one for the show. And
I could be knocking it. Like, you're probably right. Like, I'll probably watch this show back, a year from now and be like, I was wrong. It should have been 4. it could be to do with the context in which I watched it. You know, like the environment. Like I watched
It
it.
might not be a cinema movie. Yeah.
Yeah, like I watched it in the cinema.
Definitely.
It was a little bit awkward to be watching something like this in the cinema. You know, like not in like any sort of prude way or anything, but it's a very graphic, sort of sexually graphic film. And you're sitting in the cinema, you're just like, this is a bit fucking, well, all right. I wouldn't want to be
So
caught watching this.
what Ted's telling us is he went to one of those wrong cinemas.
No, I went to the right cinema, but it seemed like I went to the wrong cinema.
We're down in Arklow,
no.
man. We know that.
No, I very much enjoyed this. I was very happy with it. Then again, I've been very happy with a lot of the horrors that have come out this year, apart from Texas Chainsaw 2022 and the Requiem, because they were dirt.
Right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the show. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you agree with us or you disagree with us, we appreciate your comments in the comment section. And please do follow us on Instagram. We're the OTS on the Slab Horror. What's it at?
The which? Which?
Instagram.
We don't have an Instagram.
Okay, but there we go.
So sorry, no, you're mixing up. We have a Facebook. Yeah, we're in the mix of setting up the Instagram. There's some issues with the name that we can't get. But the Facebook page is on the Slab Horror. And go check us out there, and obviously anywhere else that you might find us, Spotify, Anchor, all those.
I'm only the host. Can't blame me. No, I'm kidding. No, 100%, absolutely. And by the way, we do have a Gmail, otshorror@gmail.com, I believe.
Yeah,
you can.
It is.
Yeah, you can get in touch with us through there. If you want to come on the show or you want to suggest anything at all. We are in the midst of our social media. That's why we're all, anyone that knows me, I've got 5 and 6 things going on at the time. So we're all a little bit up in the air. But yeah, 100%, please do get in touch with us. And most importantly, like I said, we are sponsored by Fright Rags. Fright Rags, just literally Google them. If you want, or if you want to go on Google, it's fright-rags.com.
Or they have an Instagram shop or a Facebook shop.
You can literally just go on your favorite, Twitter as well. You can literally go on there and it'll link you directly.
It'll redirect you, yeah. And as we said, OTS Horror 10 is the code, and you get now 10% discount with that.
Tell him Greg and Eno and Tombstone Ted sent you, and of course the mighty Carl King.
The King.
So, but look, we are very, very happy with this latest movie. I think horror is starting to come back a little bit.
There's a few big ones coming out this year now.
Yeah, some nice ones coming out this year, and I think if this movie is out to go by, we're on the way.
We're on to a winner.
So for me, your host, Ian Kelly, for Tombstone Ted, of course, the host of the great Retrotainment. Thanks for coming on, Teddy. But you're part of the furniture with us now anyway.
I am, here every other week.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it starts.
And of course, the G-Man. We are very, very happy to bring the show to you today. Until next week, stay scared, stay hungry, and don't look under the bed.